Michael Saylor drops a bombshell and explains how you can get $1 billion in Bitcoin. And on top of that, we are currently experiencing a massive shortage in the supply of Bitcoin, which is about to become extremely acute. Just recently, another publicly traded company, this time with the support of Donald Trump, announced plans to buy $3 billion worth of Bitcoin. And this is happening right before GameStop is set to disclose its Bitcoin holdings on its balance sheet. All these major corporate purchases are taking place while the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges is shrinking rapidly and continues to decrease. It's dropping like a stone. And don't forget what Jack and others have announced. They are launching a new company for Bitcoin investments. Capital 21 and Tether have already bought 4,000 Bitcoin for $458 million. Keep in mind, only about 450 new Bitcoin are mined each day. And that means a single company has acquired 10 times the daily production with just one purchase. And this is not an isolated case. Capital 21 deliberately wants to become a competitor to MicroStrategy. They even tweeted that they want to buy 5% of the entire Bitcoin supply. Now just imagine, a company openly says it wants to own 5% or even 10% of all Bitcoin. That's a problem, because there are already 210 publicly traded companies with Bitcoin on their balance sheets, and they all want to buy even more Bitcoin. And I'm speaking so openly about this because it has a massive impact on when you can retire with Bitcoin. Think about it. Public and private companies, sovereign wealth funds, and ETFs already hold 3.3 million Bitcoin, and most of these companies hold on to their Bitcoin. They don't sell at every little price dip like weak investors. They hold on to it, as Michael Saylor says, they hold it forever. And you heard what Michael Saylor said. And don't forget this, he has kept his word for 5 years. A lot of people have criticized him since 2020, when he announced he was buying Bitcoin. Back then people said, don't trust Michael Saylor, he'll sell, he's trading Bitcoin cycles. He's a fiat disciple. But honestly, I'm not so sure about that. Just take a look at this. Major players together hold a huge amount of Bitcoin and openly say they want to buy 5% of the total Bitcoin supply. Michael Saylor already holds 576,000 Bitcoin. Now just imagine, that's almost 3% of the total supply. And even more exciting, Michael Saylor recently announced that he wants to buy another $84 billion worth of Bitcoin. And if the price stays between $100,000 and $110,000 per Bitcoin, that would be another 800,000 Bitcoin. And let's take a quick look at that or do the math. Michael Saylor currently holds just under 600,000 Bitcoin. He wants to buy an additional 800,000 Bitcoin. That would be 1.4 million Bitcoin. At the same time, Jack and Tether together want to buy 5%, which would be 1 million Bitcoin. Now let's assume both parties hold on to their Bitcoin for 100 years. Then suddenly, 12% of the entire Bitcoin supply, 2.4 million Bitcoin, would be locked up for a century, just by these two players. Do you see the pattern now? And we're not even talking here about the world's largest asset manager. BlackRock already holds 500,000 Bitcoin and has barely sold even during price drops of 30 to 40%. Their holdings shrank by less than 2 to 3%, and that disproves the criticism. And now take a look at the ETF flows. Despite sharp price declines, demand remains stable. Many people, including self-proclaimed experts, even claim that BlackRock would use Bitcoin as an exit opportunity and sell. But so far, that hasn't happened. Instead, it looks like the buyers of the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF are long-term investors. Maybe they're people with retirement accounts who can't buy real Bitcoin, so they get exposure indirectly by buying ETF shares. Overall, it seems exactly these kinds of buyers are flocking to BlackRock, and that's what the clear trend shows. There are no significant outflows. And this buying pressure from companies is coming at exactly the same time as Bitcoin reserves on exchanges are shrinking significantly. Currently, there are only about, depending on which statistics you look at, 1.5 to 2.5 million Bitcoin held there. At a price of around $110,000 per Bitcoin, that's about $250 billion in demand. And that's without the panic buying from governments, which would be added on top. Michael Saylor also recently explained how you can make $1 billion with Bitcoin. Just take a look at this. It's absolutely insane.
If you're a dentist and you make $200,000 a year in cash flow, you can buy 200,000 of Bitcoin every year for 20 years. And that's not a bad idea. You'll be the richest dentist on your block. But you can incorporate the dental practice, get it valued at 5 times cash flow, get $1 million value, sell 3% of it for $500,000. Take the $500,000, invest in Bitcoin today. Wait a year, raise another $500,000 at a doubled market cap, 2, 3, 4 times NAV, invest that. Wait another year, raise $3 million, invest that. You'll be the first billionaire dentist on your block. And what did you do differently?
You partner up with someone else and you cut the man out. right? That's what Strategy has done. That's what Metapun has done. That's what Similar is doing to you.
And then the US Vice President J.D. Vance also stated that 0.1 Bitcoin will be an absolute fortune in the future. Now listen to what he said.
I'm telling you now, everyone in the world wants Bitcoin. I have no idea where you are. I have no idea if you come from a pure family. I have no idea if you have the biggest funding. Do you? Everyone wants Bitcoin. Everyone is buying Bitcoin. If you look back 12 months, there were probably fewer than 100 companies that circled around Bitcoin that really had something. And now every day, it's another sovereign wealth fund. Look at what GameStop just did. Look at what Truth Social did. Every day, there are trillions and trillions of dollars moving, allocating it. 0.1 Bitcoin is going to be worth an absolute fortune. Look at what the OTCs are offering. The OTCs have the smallest amount of Bitcoin ever on their books, right? I mean, the arrow is going straight down as the price of Bitcoin is going straight up. I've got a dear friend. He spoke on the stage earlier, Simon from Metaplan, and I asked him, what's the hardest problem? And he goes, honestly, we're running out of Bitcoin. It's hard to find on the exchanges. I mean, guys, everyone wants it. No one wants to get rid of it. Everybody wants it as a balance. Every family, and this isn't just America. This is the entire Middle East. This is Africa. This is all of Asia. This is the Fortune 500. These are the largest private officers. Everyone wants it. No one wants us to remove the integrity. We're so early in the game that some of us are lucky enough to buy whole Bitcoins, but don't let that discourage you from the inside. Because this is an asset that is absolutely independent. It was just a few weeks ago when the phone calls from the famous pizza transaction, RIP, were recently made. It wasn't that long ago when it cost 10,000 Bitcoin just to buy 2 pizzas, 0.1 Bitcoin. At the time, that might have meant just a crumb. 0.1 Bitcoin today is like 1,000 pizzas.
Take that into perspective. 0.1 Bitcoin today, 1,000 pizzas. Tomorrow, someday in the future, a luxury car, a house, a plane. It's not about owning Bitcoin. It's just that the love for Bitcoin is so clearly growing and spreading to everyone. Just start accumulating. Just start accumulating. Once that 10 Satoshis, 100 Satoshis, it's never too late. Well, they agree, and that's worldwide, right? You just have to get off zero, Mike. Just get off zero, that's it. Start with 1 Satoshi at a time, stack the sats, get off zero. It's incredible what's happening right now. And honestly, I'm much more optimistic than most people. What happened between 2020 and 2025 will repeat itself in the next 5 years. And it will be much, much stronger. This isn't an exaggeration. If this trend continues, by 2030 there won't be any Bitcoin left available on the exchanges. And imagine if Microsoft then wanted to buy 10% of all Bitcoin because, for example, Bitcoin rises to $500,000 or even $1 million per Bitcoin. Then the Bitcoin price would probably be high enough for them, but could they even find or buy, say, 50,000 Bitcoin? And I can already hear many people saying there will always be people who will sell their Bitcoin, of course. I myself might sell in 2030 to take some profits, but just think about the math. Even if 1 million long-term holders each sell half or a quarter of a Bitcoin in 2030, if the Bitcoin price, for example, is at $1 million per Bitcoin, who will buy them then? And will that amount be enough to meet the huge demand from major investors at that point? Today, Microsoft can't build a significant Bitcoin portfolio because the market at $2 trillion is still far too small for her. But in 2030, if you want to buy Bitcoin, then good luck. It really will be that simple, and JD Vance will very likely be proven right with the 0.1 Bitcoin if you just hold on to your Bitcoin long enough. That's why I firmly believe that the Bitcoin price in 2030 will explode, even according to conservative estimates. That means the difference you'll miss out on if you don't have Bitcoin in your portfolio today will be massive. Bitcoin has had an average annual growth rate of 198% over the past 16 years. All forecasts of 20, 30, or 40% annual appreciation in the future, even Michael Saylor's estimate of 29%, I consider extremely pessimistic, and that's just my opinion. And I believe Bitcoin will simply continue as it has so far, and most people will be surprised at where the Bitcoin price ends up. Then you could actually retire in many countries with just 0.01 Bitcoin and with 0.1 Bitcoin. That will very likely be a huge fortune, as JD Vance has already said. So stay tuned if you want to build financial freedom for yourself now through Bitcoin and crypto. Click on the link in the description below the video. The important thing is that you take action. Otherwise, you'll regret it later. I wish you a great day and I hope you enjoyed the video and were able to learn something.